Let's talk all things arts on Julie Whitney Scott Presents. Heard only on WGRN 91.9 LP, the Green Renaissance Station. Welcome to Let's Talk All Things Art. I'm your host, Julie Whitney Scott, and I have with me today someone that I haven't spoken with in a while, Felicia Chappelle, and she's got some exciting new things that's going on, and I wanted her to come on here so that my audience can find out what has she been doing, and so that you can mark on your calendar this next upcoming event. Hi, Felicia. So good to talk to you again.
Julie Whitney Scott, always a pleasure and an honor to speak with you as well.
Yeah, you still looking good, girl. You haven't aged one bit.
Well, so far, so good.
Before we really get into your event, tell my audience a little bit about you and what it is that you do as an artist.
I am definitely passion driven as primarily a writer and an actress. To make those things come to life, I've added some production work, which is considerably harder to self-title as a producer, but I do that. And that kind of wraps me around so that I'm able to make my art come to life and execute, an event or a happening or a show.
It takes a lot of work to produce something. A lot of people don't know that. They think, oh, well, we just go out here, you give us the money, you're paying for things and you're doing different things. Talk to us about some challenges that you've had.
There's always challenges and there's always setbacks. And that's one of the things that I've had to come to terms with as an artist. Staying focused in vision, there are a lot of laterals, a lot of obstacles. And if I let those level me, I don't get anywhere. They happen. They don't happen daily, but they happen consistently. So I have to write that in as part of my process. It's not just enough to decide like, this is my objective. This is what I want to do. Like you with the Columbus Black Theater Festival in its 9th, now moving into its 10th year of production, 12th year of production. So you know exactly what I'm saying when the obstacles will come. And so now I write obstacles into the schedule. I don't blow up anymore. As artists, we tend to be kind of, I won't say temperamental, but we're driven. So when something happens, we want solutions. We're directors, we're writers, we're creators, we want solutions. And sometimes now I've learned to let things sit with different obstacles. If I don't proofread carefully, if I make a mistake, if I release information to a team that's counting on me and the information is wrong, then if I have to go back and have the courage to say, I messed up, then there's going to be a lot of questions. People are going to be sweating question marks. And I have to be prepared to say, no system is perfect. No human is perfect. The objective is the end game. There's a lot of accountability I have to take myself to task for. There's nobody I can call and say, hey, fix this. This isn't right. Or you shipped my package wrong. It's like, I am the person. So I could yell at myself if I want to, but it's not going to get the job done.
You bring up such a good point. As artists, sometimes we have to, and I like how you put that in, how you said that. We have to just write in that things are going to not happen the way we want to. If we make it part of our narrative, then when we get rejected, because that's what our brain tells us is, oh, I'm rejected. They didn't want this. I submitted that. They didn't accept that. We had an event. Nobody came. When those kind of things happen, I went to an audition. I didn't get the part. Sometimes I call it remember you got the little angel on one side, the devil on the side, the one over on the devil over on this side is saying bad, oh, too bad, oh, horrible. Nobody likes you rejected. But part of being an artist is that's part of the process. And it has nothing negative to do really with you messing up or doing that. It's part of that process because things have to have a way, and they're all, like you said, things happen sometimes.
I'm glad you said that, but I'm gonna have to take you to task because as an artist, it's not part of the process. We can be creative and experience none of the blows, rejection when you don't get that yes letter, or when the financing is challenging and you have to figure out how you're going to get the corporate sponsorship or who's going to donate the 300 chairs or, which print shop is going to give you the best deal. Oh, they gave you a great deal, but the paper quality was less than, or all these little things. Like, that's not what being an artist is. that's what you do with the festival, and I'm learning to do with production work so that I can make my stuff come to life. Because most artists, I hate to say it, we don't focus in the infrastructure lane where there has to be somebody behind the scenes. There has to be somebody representing and willing to stand behind the art and say, we really do believe we can achieve this objective, to talk to venues, to say, we are consistent with your mission statement. Your audiences will love us. Those kind of things take it a higher level than just an artist, because the creative part, like, my partnership, I work in partnership right now. My primary partner is Elias Kelly. There's Justin Howard, Stephanie Pierce. And a whole team of people who are coming together. So it's never just a me. It's always just a we. So if I think Columbus Black Theater Festival, I may think Julie Whitney Scott, but that there are hundreds of people that are standing beside you, behind you, and around you, supporting, making those shows go up, pulling those talents out of young artists who are less familiar with the grind or how difficult the industry can be. And so I can be an artist and not look at details at all, but that doesn't get the game on,
Yes, that is so good. What you just said, that is so good. That and then there's that extra element too of the producer. The one behind it, like you said, the scenes that are doing that. So if we as artists understand that we have to adjust, that's where I kind of look at it. Like you have to pivot to get the job done. If it didn't work this way, okay, what about that way? And we have to really work hard at, like you said earlier, about making sure the narrative is in there that, okay, I can't get it here, I can get that there. I'll call so-and-so here. And teamwork, what you're talking about, that partnership, that's it's team. I could never do what I've done with the Black Theater Festival if I didn't have people that like you said, their team, I can count on them. Read the plays. I don't have time to read all of them. And if I did, it's just my opinion. Who wants just my opinion? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it takes everybody in there.
Yeah.
Everybody gets in it. And it's really a beautiful thing to, like, when I'm in a writing partnership, like my writer will take over a bunch of stuff. I'm like, yo, it's all about you and the structure, because one of the things at the writing table is that timing, that timing, where by the end of 22 minutes for a television episode, there's certain things that have to happen to make that watchable, believable, and fit into the rhythm of what people are used to saying. He's got that. I don't have that. I'm like, yo, I don't have the timing of a jazz great. He's got that. So when I need that, he puts it in there, and I'm like, come on, man, you wrote this. And he's like, yeah, but it's nothing without, the creative vision. Because I'll be like, no, that absolutely can't happen. It can't go like this. And I'll be like, okay. And so that teamwork, whether it's two people or whether it's people you don't even ever get to see, who are like, oh, I know I need to make this delivery on time, or, it's the quality of each person's contribution. And none of it works without people who love art. Because, like, a lot of my family is like, oh, y'all are so creative on y'all side of the family, or you are gifted and you have something that the rest of us don't have. And I'm like, yeah, but if you guys don't show up, then it's nothing. Like, I'm just dancing in the kitchen by myself with the spoon, like, hey, dropping the mic like I'm all that, but I'm actually just spinning circles in the house, and that's not what it is. It takes those audience members and those theater goers and the people who claim not to be creative, but they're creative enough to know they have to show up. They're creative enough to enjoy it, and seeing their faces when they're out there in the audience, like, wow, that was great, or I wasn't expecting that, or it really takes a lot of different components to make art happen so that we can enjoy it, so that it can, like, apply itself to how we're seeing the life, and it picks everything up. Everything just picks right up.
You brought up family. I think I told you for years, I did not know that your Chappelle and Dayton never connected with me until somebody one time was like, I said, it's our interview. They said, isn't that Dave Chappelle's sister? And I was like, she's not Dave Chappelle's sister. And they was like, yes, she is. I said, she is. And they was like, glad. And the reason I'm bringing this up, Felicia, is because it shows who you are as an individual artist. Because all that time I never knew it, and you never when you were doing, came here for the festival, was doing everything you was, doing, putting on and all that. And we working together at the festival. And never once did you use that or say that. So I was just like, my respect for you went way, but I was already respectful of you as an artist and a creative and your whole spirit, period. I just already loved that anyway. It was just like but when I found, when I was finally connected the dots, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? I told people, I said, you know what? That sister has my utmost respect, because she's doing her thing and getting her work out there without trying to use her family, without saying anything about her family connections. That's great. Felicia, a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people, that'd be the first thing they say, or they would get it in there somehow, who they were. So I just wanted to comment on that, just because you brought up family, because I don't usually do that, but since you brought up family, I just wanted to comment on that and tell you how much my respect for you as an individual artist
I appreciate that.
just rose higher, knowing that you are Dave Chappelle's sister, and you just good people.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you brought up family. That's the only reason I brought that up, is because I respect that so much of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was telling my grandson the other day, one thing we have to be in life is humble. And because our art is a gift that God has given us, and creativity, and without, for me, that keeps me humble, because I know he gave that, I know it's a gift. And like you were saying, everybody doesn't have it.
Yeah.
Everybody doesn't have it. And when you talk about families, that's the same with my family. They're like, Mom, we do, grand auntie, we're not into that. That's what you do. We don't.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad you said that. Like, I really know that humility is the whole bottom line for me, with the gift of art and being able to create art and being a creative in my own right. Like, people will come in with flaring attitudes, and all artists, they have a certain exterior kind of personality, and it doesn't get the work done, is what I always find out. Like, you could be connected to whomever, but the quality of the art really speaks from a personal relationship with creativity, and execution. I always have to say that, because I spent a lot of time being creative and not really focusing on, how do I make this happen? How do I turn this into something? It's not a easy thing to be creatively minded. Sometimes my mind gets scatterbrained. Ideas come all the time, and it takes a lot of focus to push out stuff that's not going to get the objective met, push out stuff that's not going to get the job done. And staying humble has been a big, 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 big part of it. I don't like to say a lot about my family, because my brother, Dave Chappelle, is a global megastar, and I am not at all a global megastar, even a little bit. And so it's a huge difference. But I always respect when I see siblings doing stuff, like, I know that, there's Tony Rock, also amazing. There's Charlie Murphy, so missed and so loved, and a phenomenal artist, a phenomenal human. Solange Knowles is incredible and amazing, so when it runs in your blood, you just kind of have to roll with it, because it is a gift, and it goes where it's supposed to go, and it penetrates where it's supposed to penetrate, and that reaches the whole world. But I'm still a viable artist, and I have to kind of self-define in that way, and know that I'm not really feeling alive unless I'm creating art. So that's what I'm gonna do, and that's what I do. And I can't believe I ever let it alone for a while, but it's an important part of who I am. So I'm doing it.
Well, you can't let it, you like you said, you can put it to the side for a minute, but it's who we are. We must create. And I'm like you. I have so many things that I want to do this. I'll do this. I'm talking to somebody who helped me with a screenplay over here. And and I'm doing all this. And so I think I'm gonna have to take some of your advice.
One thing at a time.
Which I do, because I'm like you. It's like, okay, Stay
Focus,
here, girl.
focus,
You know,
focus.
write a
Yeah.
note. Write a note. You know, I've learned to
Yeah.
write notes. I've learned to like write this. Just write that down. Write that note down so you don't lose that thought or that plot.
Mhm.
You know. So write that down.
Yeah.
So talk to us now about your upcoming. What's the
Oh,
newest
I'm so
project that you're
excited.
working on?
So excited. So right now I'm working on I'm a Character. Sister Witness is a show about a woman who has created a space for displaced youth to feel safety. So she's created a safety zone and she comes under fire because her methods are inauthentic. And that inauthenticity gets her in trouble with like red tape and stuff. And that's kind of the meat of the show. So we've written 3 episodes and we're going to shoot it as a sitcom. But the difference here is we're using local talent. I can't believe how incredibly great these kids are that I'm working with. I'm just blown away. Like their mental concentration and ability to connect with me and subtlety, and on film, I'm like, this is amazing. But we're shooting in front of a live studio audience in September, and that's different. So we're gonna let people come in for shoot sessions. We're gonna capture it all, and when we get those 3 episodes, we're gonna try to release that for television viewing. Sister Witness, and I love the character and I love the work, and the writing is phenomenal. The writing is really, really strong. So yeah, we're going up. We're doing this thing.
That is so exciting.
Yeah.
And our youth, I work with youth a lot, and it's because they're our future, and they don't get a lot of at least opportunities, especially for African Americans or people of color, youth, to actually work in film or theater at a young age, because a lot of the stuff, you know, they charge too much for them to go, or you know, it just doesn't work out that way. Um, what are the ages of the youth that you're working with? And what's the
We're
name of the
working with
project again?
Sister Witness has an age group of between 8 and 14, so it's child friendly and it's family friendly. And these kids are displaced and they end up in this housing living situation under the watchful eye of Skylar. That's me, Sister Witness. And so we deal with a lot of their, you know, kids these days are witnessing such a phenomenally challenging world, like between the race stuff and the violence and the, you know, the Second Amendment propagation and the erasure of American history. And like they're looking at us kind of like, y'all are crazy. So the generation gap is kind of challenged in these decades, I feel. So I always look at young people and say like, hey, you know, I'm sorry we didn't get it right. And if you think we're not paying attention, we are. We're just exhausted. And so when you're seeing your observations, when you have observations, believe your instinct. Don't look at the adults and be like, why didn't they do this? Because I remember when I was a kid, I was like, you guys should just, and I had a long list of things. I didn't realize I was a bright child. I just thought everybody was brain dead. You know, I had a really low opinion of all the adults and I had a trouble respecting authority. I was like, what's wrong with you people? Now that I'm grown, I always start my relationship with kids by apologizing. I see what you're seeing. I didn't get a chance. I didn't fix it fast enough. I was busy solving the whole time. And we are here. So when you say, well, maybe it's not safe to do because my mommy, auntie, teacher, counselor, or whatever didn't do it, we did. We pushed and pushed and pushed. And now we're just older and we're exhausted. So trust your instincts, trust your vibbies vibes. They call them vibbies sometimes. The kids are weird, you know, and know that we see what you see, we're just tired. So don't look to us all the time. Trust yourselves. You know, try to give them that confidence and stuff. But the kids we're working with are 8 to 14. We have Black and white children. We have some children who are both Black and white. We deal with inclusion in every way and just try to see the world as they see it instead of being judgmental about, y'all are always on your devices, or, you know, hey, I tell you what, I had never been on any social media until like a month before the lockdown. And once that happened, a friend of mine, younger friend, was like, why don't you ever? And I'm like, I don't even do any of that stuff. So I did. And now I'm a junkie. And I see why they're always on it. And it gives them a strong sense of self. They just don't have as many interaction skills that we had because they don't interact in person as often. So I'm just trying to see the world the way they see it, not teach them what I know about racism. My own kids have called me racist. I'm like, wait a minute, what? How do you mean? How is that possible? I am powerless. I am both female and brown. Anyway, it's a great conversation. And then
That
it's a
sounds
great
like it's like
conversation.
what? like, okay, now we don't want to go into this now. Let's go sit down. Let's take a minute
no,
to
it's
explain
true.
why I am not and cannot be a racist. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's a
true.
power thing. With that, who's in control?
So one of the kids
That.
asked me the other day, these kids are multi-talented, they're multi-linguists, they're multi-instrumentalists, they're actors. So one of the kids to me the other day was like, what's rate? What don't kept asking if he could touch this other kid's hair. Finally, we were like, yo, and finally I was the only one that said after days and days of this, yo, man, that's racist. And he goes, what's racist? And I go, it's when you do or say something and everybody's heart clenches, but nobody knows how to tell you what's wrong. And he was like, oh, okay. And then another kid was like, that's the best answer I ever heard. And it's just a lot of little moments like that, working in a group with a cast, and they're informing me and they're driving the show, and they're really talented, and it's amazing to watch.
Yeah. And they also had that COVID, that COVID caused them to have to relearn how to socialize in person with their peers, because
Yeah.
it did some damage as far as that. So I always see there's some good things came out and bad. And one of them was that our young people in school, they lost that during that really important time in their life when they're learning social skills and doing that they didn't have that. So that's good. So how often do you rehearse? Are you doing the usual screen film thing? Because it's going to be different now since you're going to do this live instead of going from set, place to place.
Yeah.
It's going to be in one set. That is so cool. It reminds me of the old days, when they used to do the Stanford and Sons and all those. Everything was like one stage, and they produce all those plays, all those things live.
Yeah.
So
the live studio audience is a big part of it. The rehearsal schedule, since they're 3 episodes, we break it into 3s because not everybody is in everything. Then we just do scene work. Also with screen, a lot of it is like getting the cast to understand the little subtleties that happen in between when they talk, because film is film and television, a lot more subtle, a lot more concise, a lot more to the point. The rhythm of it is completely different than stage. So right now, our weekend rehearsals are going to get heavy for August, going into our September 4th opening. But primarily, we only rehearse like a couple times a week. Now, the production schedule for all the other stuff is intensive and daily. But as far as bringing everybody in, we only have to rehearse a couple times a week. And then on weekends, we hit it hard so that we make sure everybody's on the same page.
So how do we go about getting this information? Where's it going to be? And or is it just show up, or, like the Oprah show? I got a ticket. I'm in here. How do we get in? Because I'm really interested in this. I'm thinking to my own self, how do I get there?
Sister Witness tickets are available on Eventbrite. So if you have a familiarity with Eventbrite, go in there, Sister Witness, Felicia Chappelle, and it'll pop up. Our dates are September 7th through September 13th. And they're going to be mostly evening performances, and those ticket blocks are available now. So you will see that Eventbrite, Felicia Chappelle, Sister Witness. You can get your tickets there, and it's going to be a really great seated performance. Like, the people who come are going to be lucky, and the people who miss it are going to be like, what? I can't believe I could have gone. And I'm pretty certain that we're going to have a high response. We've had a high response so far. Right. So hopefully filming every night. And then we'll have an event so that the people can see the edited version of what they watched. So they'll watch us, they'll see the grime, they'll see the behind the scenes thing, they'll see what it looks like to make that room look like a room, well lit, with everybody doing what it is that we do when we perform and when we act. And then it'll be edited down into a television series, and they'll get a chance to preview that as well.
That's nice. They'll be a part of this whole that creative process coming to life. I really like that.
And follow me at Felicia.Chappelle. It's the easiest way to find me. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm out there, Felicia.Chappelle, Sister Witness. You'll see me, and I'll post information about what's going on with the show, where we are in the process. I'll do a lot of lives from the rehearsals.
I have to check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to follow that page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's been really great talking to you. I'm going to get on that Eventbrite and see if I can check my schedule and see if I can't get out there to be in the seats at least one of those days, and to get see you again and get my hug
Oh, can't wait to
in
see you.
person.
It's in Yellow Springs, Ohio,
We forgot
920
to say
Corey
where
Street.
it was.
Yeah, it's at the Foundry Theater in Yellow Springs, Ohio. And our dates are September 7th through September 13th. The Foundry Theater at Antioch College in Yellow Springs, Ohio. That's 920 Corey Street. And the tickets are available on Eventbrite.
Yeah. There we go. Girl, yeah, I'll be headed to Dayton. Wrong place.
No. Come to Yellow Springs. Come out to Yellow Springs. That's where we do what we do. We'll be there and we'll be in plenty and it'll be fun.
All right. Before we leave, I always like for my guests to give my audience a word of encouragement. We've been given a lot of different things already that you talked about. But what word of encouragement, and it doesn't matter what it is, that you would like to give to the audience in today in regards to what we've been talking about, or anything that comes to your mind to encourage them as artists?
Discipline is my word. Discipline. We have talent and it's zero without discipline. And I borrow that from Prince Rogers Nelson, who was a recording artist over the course of the last century, who recently expired maybe 6 or 7 years ago. But discipline is the entire thing. If you don't have full discipline and you're waiting for motivation, look, I didn't feel like writing this morning, or motivation is not the key. Motivation is not it at all, because there are unmotivated days and hours and minutes all the time. Discipline is the key. So if you are smaller on the discipline scale, don't punish yourself. Just make something happen every day. Have it be that you train yourself that every day at this time, I do this small thing, even if it's only a 5-minute thing. Do the same thing every day at the same time until you establish a habit. It takes 40 days to establish a habit. Establish a habit of discipline. Write every day for 5 minutes when your alarm clock goes off. Stretch every morning for 5 minutes when your alarm clock goes off. Or before bed every night, picture your character, if you're an actor, in your mind, or picture tools in your hand, or have some kind of visualization, but give yourself a window every day where you are living in discipline. I'm not doing this because I'm motivated. I'm not doing this because I'm feeling creative. I do this because this is how I am training myself to have discipline in art. Discipline, that's the word.
That's a good word. I take it with me also, to be more disciplined in what I need to do, especially in regards to writing. So that's a really good word. All right, then. I want to thank you, Felicia Chappelle, for being with me on Let's Talk All Things Art. And I just know that your sitcom, The Three, will be seen soon on Netflix and all them other good things, Apple TV. We put that out there in the universe that it will be picked up. All right?
Yeah, I want it. Julie Whitney Scott, thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you for being with me on Let's Talk All Things Art. This is another Mind for God production sponsored event hosted by me, Julie Whitney Scott.